again, Broncos country.
Really excited to chop up some Broncos with you all this week.
Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS.
Favorite time of the week, but not for the Raiders, Chargers, or Chiefs. So grab your brews in your fantasy league. We got that blue and orange blood that you bleed. The most loyal fans there ever could be. We are that mile high Broncos country.
Orange Weekly, fans, brews, and Broncos news. What's up, Broncos country, and welcome to another episode of Bourbon, Broncos No BS here on Orange Weekly. Of course, we are all still feeling the loss of the Broncos to the Raiders, but we do have some interesting stories from two men who braved the are they calling it the black hole, or what are they calling it now? The
Death Star.
The Death Star. That's right. So they,
yes, I believe it's the Death Star.
They braved the Death Star wearing orange and blue. And so, boys, take it away. What you got?
First of all, I will say I was probably the most popular person there because I wore the sweater, the Christmas sweater, and literally everybody, regardless of what team they were rooting for, loved the Christmas lights.
It was super annoying how many compliments he got.
Yeah,
I'll tell you. I was wearing a pretty cool retro hoodie and got a couple of compliments from Raiders fans, and I wasn't really sure how to process that. But yeah, Jared was getting them left and right. It was super annoying.
A lot of like, you're super sexy, like I could take you home with me, stuff like that.
I think, and I'm not even saying I think, I know it was because he made a better hat choice that day than he usually makes.
Lost a bet.
Yeah, but it was festive. It completed the ensemble with the sweater. I think that if you wore that hat a little bit more often, you'd get some more positive feedback.
No, don't believe it. Don't believe it.
Well, we'll see.
If you listen to the pregame podcast, we made a bet on the Cincinnati game that if I was very confident still wearing these orange and blue goggles,
that's right,
that the Broncos were going to win that game. See, and what had happened was I lost that bet, and I'm a man of my word. So yes. The bet was that I had to wear the puffball all game in the Las Vegas, which, by the way, that stadium, if you guys get a chance to go, just absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, amazing.
It was temperature controlled. It was really nice. Surprisingly, it wasn't an Oakland game. It was a Las Vegas. Like, you could tell the difference in the fan types. Like, everyone was super friendly. Like, you're right, there was the normal shit talk. They're like, oh, yeah, go Bronco. Oh, I'm just kidding, bro. Like, stuff like that. But, I mean, other than that, like, it was a lot of fun. Even after the game, the walk of shame, as like we like to call it, because of that night. Across the bridge over to the strip was really nice. People were just friendly and talking to us, and like everyone was just having a good time. It was really, really fun.
If you get a chance to go, you definitely should.
You definitely should.
Okay. No, it seemed like you guys were having a great time. I wish I could have been there with y'all, but not to be wearing a puffball. I mean,
no, he looked good. And it supported on his head well too. I feel like if he gave it half a chance, it would be a very popular thing for Jared. But
at this point, I'm not doing it out of just out of spite. Out of spite. Yeah, I'm just it's a refusal thing now.
That's fair.
I own like 3 puffballs, but I've not worn them since this started.
That's fair.
I'm the same way. Yeah. Okay, we got a bunch of people up in here. Travis, Chris, Brian, Dan, Rob, how y'all doing? We got a Facebook user from Kingsport, Tennessee. Glad to see you here as well. Thanks for tuning in. First off, yes, rest in peace. John Madden died at the age of 86. 86. So obviously huge legend within the NFL. and very unexpected. So sad to see that news, but yeah. So we're gonna honor his legacy by pressing on for sure, and keeping him and his family in our thoughts. Let's see. So let's, guys, the conversation now. First off, Jared, I want to ask you this because we're in a very precarious situation where we are not mathematically eliminated.
I'm gonna slap it out of your hands.
But we kind of.
See, this is
Jared,
the bad
what?
part about doing the show while actually sitting next to him, because he can make the threats and actually
taking it.
Okay, so we're not mathematically eliminated.
But
But
what is your take?
We're pretty much eliminated. We need the stars to align perfectly in order to make the playoffs, and that means like everybody else that's up for it right now.
Loses the next 2 weeks.
Everybody else needs to lose, and we need to win out the next two games, and it just doesn't look good. I mean, now obviously, the Raiders have the tiebreaker there. The Bengals have the tiebreaker.
Well, it feels like the Dolphins are in a better position. than us
Yeah,
right
and
now.
you know what? You know what's crazy right now? We were watching the Dolphins. What was it? The game last night. And they were talking about like both of them are 7-7, and if one of them loses, they still have like a 38% chance to make. Like in the NFC, a 7-8 team is still in the running for the playoffs. In the AFC, it's just not happening.
Well, and especially if you're the Broncos, who have losses, like you said, against the Bengals, against the Browns, against the Raiders twice now, against the Steelers.
Yeah.
Everybody else in the playoff picture, in the wild card picture right now, the Ravens, have beaten the Broncos this season, except for the Chargers, and who knows what's going to happen this Sunday. So I think we can leave the calculator safely over here in the corner where you can't reach it.
Until next year.
Yeah.
We're at the beginning of the
And
season.
it's staying over there.
Okay.
It's staying
At the
over
beginning
there.
of the
No.
season, our chances to make the playoffs
I
are
swear to God.
pretty good. You
Right.
know?
Right, yeah.
According to the calculator,
The calculator's not speaking anymore. The calculator doesn't have anything to do with this anymore. We're not bringing up the calculator or what it says ever again, except... Oops.
Except boobs. Because here at Orange Weekly, we are grown men that are mature and
Mature grown men, that's right.
something
Now,
like
let's
that.
get to some more serious questions about where this roster and where this
I don't
front
wanna.
office is going to go. I know, but we have to answer them, right? It's looking more and more like this coaching staff is not going to be back. They are going to wait, like we've been saying this entire time, guys. We know you're impatient. We know you want, quote unquote, accountability. But it's going to be the end of the season before somebody gets fired. That's just the way it is. Fangio and Shermer and McMahon are all going to go, but we're going to see what these last two games have first. And Drew Lock. Drew Lock has a better chance of being on this team than the rest of them do right now, but it's not by much.
I'd give you that.
Next season, if they don't get a Russell Wilson or an Aaron Rodgers, or even if they do and they want a backup, it's just not going to be a situation where you see Drew Lock in any kind of position to start, and that's absolutely how it should be. He's got no more chances left, as far as I'm concerned. He's used all of them. I know there's been a lot of the coaching staff has been against Drew Lock all this time, this, that, and the other thing, Keith. I'm sorry, I have to say I don't agree with this one. They were quote-unquote biased against Drew Lock because he showed it on the field and in practice. He wasn't the guy. And he showed it to us over and over and over and over and over again, and it's time for us to believe him. He's not the guy.
It's not like Fangio was trying to set him up for failure on Sunday because and I don't, Keith, and I don't remember if this was you on Sunday's show or somebody else said this, that essentially said Fangio wants Drew Lock to fail to prove that he was right. Them losing that game is just another huge nail in the Fangio head coaching coffin. You lose that game, you lose your head coaching job. You do not want. I mean, Fangio is a very prideful man, I can tell. But if he's that prideful, then he's just a dumbass. Okay, that's all I'm just going to say there.
He knows that he wanted to give himself the best chance to keep his own job this season. He thought that meant Teddy Bridgewater. I think that's probably the case. But he definitely did not sabotage his own game plan to make Drew Lock look bad so he could lose a game.
On the opposite, I think if we have anybody to blame for this whole thing, we have to blame Shermer, right? So we dropped back 24 times to throw the ball 24 times. We only ran the ball 16 times because our run game wasn't going. You can't say that they didn't call a game plan to give Drew Lock an opportunity to make good plays. Now, there was 2 pretty crucial drops. I will say that. Jerry Jeudy.
I'd say 3, but yeah.
He dropped
at
a
least
big
2.
one, and I think Albert O dropped another one towards the end of the game that probably could have, drove us down the field to be in the chance to be the game winner. But, yeah, Drew Lock, he looked better than he has at any point this year. I'll give him that. Yeah, he did look better practicing with the starters. Did he look like a quarterback that could lead us to being a winner? He didn't, and it showed on that last drive. There is no part of me that thinks any quarterback on this roster, if we're down by a touchdown or more than 4 points, that we can make a drive to win the game.
Yep.
And that's the 3rd time, I think, this season that we've had a chance to,
At
which
least.
is crazy, by the way. Every game being not that close for that
Yeah.
many games.
Bigger stat than that. I think Vic Fangio is 6-12 in his tenure in 1-score games.
So yeah, so you're talking. If we have a chance to drive down the field, even just to score a field goal, I don't have faith that our offense can do it. Now, whether it's a quarterback issue or a coaching issue, I don't know. But going back to your point earlier about the coaching staff, Vic Fangio kind of he's in a precarious situation where obviously his defense is playing well. He didn't call a terrible game as far as like his timeout usage and all that stuff in this last game. But his addiction and his commitment to Shermer is so like. It's going to be his fault. It's going to be his downfall. And, everybody was talking about him getting fired at the end of the year. I still thought there was a chance that he could stay as the head coach if he really just started like, hey, like this, and this is big for me. You back off and say, hey, guys, I fucked up, right? Shermer didn't do it. But what he said was in his past press conference, and I think this is what did it for me, because I've been kind of a Vic Fangio, should probably stick around for a little bit longer. He said, Shermer's been in this league a really long time. He knows what he's doing. I'm going to see what he has in the next 2 games. That was his answer for being like, hey, your offensive coordinator sucks balls. Like, what are you going to do about it?
Maybe this is just me being a devil's advocate here, but I get it to a certain degree. Because you can throw your offensive coordinator under the bus, great. But now, if you do that and you somehow convince the front office that you get 1 more year, you'll fire your friend Pat Shermer if they'll give you 1 more year, and then what? You're a defensive head coach who's now on his 3rd offensive coordinator in your stint with the team in 4 years of head coaching.
Yeah.
Where do you
with no real prospect at quarterback for the time being?
Yeah. How do you build consistency on that side of the ball in just 1 season to the point where you can say, I've justified keeping myself for longer term,
Right. But I mean, and just like with Vance Joseph, right? Like great defensive coach, just bad head coach, right? You see it everywhere. It's for some reason it seems like that's a big like NFL things. A lot of defensive coaches just don't do well. Like Matt Patricia was a great defensive coach, not a great head coach.
Jack Del Rio.
I don't
know if I think you could say John Fox wasn't the greatest head coach.
Yeah, Wade, right?
Wade Phillips, absolutely.
Another one who failed as an offensive. But
Romeo
great,
Crennel,
beautiful defensive coordinators, not so good. And even look at Vance Joseph. He left us, went to Arizona. Arizona's got one of the top 10 defenses in the league right now with what he's doing over there with that roster. So Fangio is not done in this league in any way, shape, or form. Will he be a head coach again? Maybe not in the next 3 to 4 years. But there's no way, and I love it, Brian. I love the motivation here. But there's absolutely no way you can take a head coach and be like, hey, if you want to stay with the team, you got to give up all the power that you've had the last 3 years, and we're going to give it to this new guy. And now, and there's a dynamic in the locker room of how people view you as a coach and where you are. There's a lot at play here sociologically that you just can't do that. So if we lose them, we're going to lose all of them. And let's be honest, Peyton kind of prefaced this whole process, this whole thing, by getting rid of Von Miller earlier in the year. That whole concept of no one's safe. Yeah. And there's a level of we can start rebuilding right now if we need to. And I think that's what he's going into. He goes, we don't make the playoffs. We are rebuilding right now. We're starting from scratch, and we're going to draft our quarterback for the future with the new coaching staff that knows how to use him.
That's absolutely right.
Another big thing with that is we're talking about this whole organization needs a dire culture change.
Yeah.
You don't do a successful culture change by keeping, in some capacity, the current leader of that organization.
It can't work.
You don't look at companies that are failing and you see them bring their CEO down to CFO or something and say, yeah, well, they're not in charge anymore, but no, they are fired and you start fresh because the whole organization needs an organizational cultural overhaul. And that's where the Broncos are. So not only do you it is incredibly rare to see a head coach get fired, stay on the same
It
team
doesn't
and as
happen.
assistant.
It doesn't. It's unheard
Right.
of. Yeah.
And so it's
we're discussing all of this. We haven't even considered the head coach's. We haven't taken the head coach's ego into account at all.
right.
If you're a guy who just got fired by your organization from the top job, you're not going to go back to that same organization and do a lesser job for less money. It's just not going to happen. You're going to find another opportunity somewhere else in the league. You're going to start fresh for yourself. It doesn't make any sense if you're Vic Fangio to go back and be the Broncos defensive coordinator.
Can I
He'll
also
get a
say
good job as defense coordinator anywhere else? There's a chance he does get a head coaching job in Chicago. Like we're talking
right?
There's chances that he goes around, but unfortunately he's not gonna drop down, and we're gonna have to start from scratch. I think the only people in my head that are safe right now, other than Peyton, because we just got him and I think he's doing pretty well with his draft class that he got right now, is the offensive line coach. He's basically the only one, and then that's it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't know. Mike Munchak might decide, or the next head coach might decide, I want to bring in my entire new staff. I don't, nothing against Mike Munchak. I just want to bring my guys.
Yeah.
There's a lot at stake in this offseason.
A lot at play, absolutely.
I also want to throw in, the more that I think about it, the more I'm really starting to believe that while Vic Fangio, has a solid defense, I think it's a mirage. We have the second easiest schedule in the league. We're the second. We're supposed, and we're like overall like number 4 in the league or something like that. Like, you're supposed to be that good. I don't know. I just don't believe that we're that great of a defense.
Yeah, but on the injury front, we're on our 18th string linebackers, our 7th string defensive linemen, and the only thing that we've kept is our DBs, who have been playing like trash. We had Fuller, who was getting picked on in the game, by the way. I'm not sure if you guys noticed.
Oh, yeah.
This, but the only time they threw it, they never threw to Surtain's side. They were always throwing to Fuller's side. And then Darby, who we know how that story went. Callahan hasn't been playing great. He's been in and out of injury. Kareem Jackson in and out of injury. Justin Simmons had a slow start to the season, but is playing much better now. Huge Pro Bowl snub, by the way. I can't believe we haven't mentioned that. Screw the Pro Bowl. But I think our defense is playing together as a good group, and defensive schemes have been working for the most part. We're still holding them to 16 points a game
because we have the second easiest schedule in the league. But okay.
So, I think there's a lot of factors involved here. Number one, the offense.
I'm dead inside. I have adopted David's mentality. I am dead inside. I don't care anymore.
I'm ready to fight.
No,
I'm ready.
Wise.
Let's do this.
I get it. So offense has been down around the league this year. That's just a thing.
Good point.
It's been a league-wide trend. Offenses have not been as efficient or effective this season, just in general. So defenses are always going to look better anyway. I think the Fangio defense's proliferation around the league has shown that there is at least something effective in the scheme. And I think to Jared's point, the fact that we've gone through so many linebackers like we did corners last year shows that he is able to do some things well on that side of the ball.
Sure.
But to me, the larger point is that I think people are worried that if you get rid of Fangio, you'll see a catastrophic drop off in the talent level or in the competitive level of the defense, and I don't think that's true. The talent level alone seems to me that you can keep an average to above average defense on the field, regardless of scheme. We will see. But I think it's, to me, a little overblown to say that we cannot have a good defense without a Fangio or a Fangio style coordinator in the house.
I do want to bring up one lighter comment. You guys did not hear it, and maybe you've heard of it since being at the game. Probably the most atrocious call wasn't a play call during the game. It was the announcer's attempt at saying Albert O's name. And it went something like Albert Okuwebunwe. And it was absolutely atrocious. And I want to say that the Broncos played, terribly on offense, but I want to say that absolute, Albert Okuwebunwe was a lot worse than, so for those of you who might have missed it, it was pretty horrendous. That, I don't know, maybe I'll start calling him that now just because it's so funny that I don't know. Like, we know this guy has a tough name to say, but come on. Come on. You can't at least end it with a num. Albert
They're
Okwig,
professionals.
num.
They are supposed to be interviewing the players like the day before. There's a media day. They're supposed to meet the players, find out their backstory, so they have something to talk about on the screen, right? There's a whole process. But holy crap, like not even trying. Like at least be like you know, you hear some stuff. Albert, we're gonna go with Albert O. We're gonna
Just
go with
say Albert O.
on this one.
Just say
take
Albert
it.
O. I'd
Yeah,
appreciate
that'd
it.
be
Like
better.
it just be
That's
like,
too
okay.
funny. That's too
Anyway.
funny.
Okay, let's see here. Back to some of the comments. Yeah, so Travis says Jacksonville is already looking for new coaches. Yes, so again, everybody, this year in the league, and as of right now, it's this year only, teams that have a coaching opening vacancy can start interviewing head coaching candidates.
It's not necessarily that they have a coaching vacancy. If they know that they will have a coaching vacancy at the end, they're allowed to start interviewing. They can't just like quietly interview without letting the current head coach know. Like, for example, it's not like they can like bring in a couple head coaches and on the side in private and not tell Vic Fangio that he's gone at the end of the year. But there's a good chance they pull Fangio aside and like, hey man, you know the deal, right? You don't make the playoffs. We got to start interviewing. So they might be interviewing and letting him know, and we might not see that, which is a big piece. I know media, a little hard to get past the media nowadays, and you know, I can't wait for the clickbait articles to come out about us interviewing people, but there is a chance that we start interviewing people. We don't have to fire them. I just want to make that a point. Like, it's not like, oh, why aren't we firing him and hiring, like trying to interview people? We don't have to fire them.
Right. Well, even if we were interviewing people right now, we couldn't beat anybody to the punch by making them a job offer, at least not officially. Like, that still has to wait until after
not
the end of the
there
season.
There is a level of, like, you know, they go interview for another job and they kind of fall in love with it without knowing what the other options are and kind of give that commitment. You really don't want that to happen.
Right.
You want to be able to advertise that, like, hey, which I think Denver is probably maybe the second, like, best option of going to as far as young talent, new general manager, that bringing in all this young talent to Jacksonville. Right, Jacksonville has a lot of young talent too that they could do a lot of things with, but I think we have a very, very good draw for new head coaches to come in, and I think that at least advertising that to most of the head coaches and being like, "Hey, this is going to be available," might play a key part into who we get.
Right. Right, and there's a whole lot of talk we can have on that. Speculation, you know, situationally dependent on all this stuff, right? So we have plenty of time for that.
Yeah. And honestly, I think the only people that are gonna know, even in the front office, I feel like half them won't know. Like, you're talking, you know, Peyton and Elway and Ellis are they're gonna be it.
Yeah.
And then maybe Fangio, if they pull him aside, and be like, hey, this is what we're doing. That's about it.
That sounds
Yep. Yep. It'll be interesting for sure, though. I mean, look, we're still in a position where we have games left that we're probably not going to win, or it doesn't matter if we win or lose, but they're divisional games. And to say that we ended the season on at least, you know, a winner, if we could sweep the Chargers this year, that'd be pretty fantastic. If we could finally break the losing streak against the Chiefs, whether there's an asterisk there or not from them sitting starters, you know, potentially, I don't care as long as we stop losing to them. There's something there for us to build off of. But what do you guys think in terms of, I've seen some questions here in terms of, you know, do we start putting out some of the younger players a little bit more? I mean, do we see more from Mike Boone, for example, you know?
No. I mean, Mike Boone's not, at this point, I don't think you can consider Mike Boone a younger player. It feels like to me he's a veteran. He's as much of a veteran as Melvin Gordon is.
Well, yeah, but the idea there is Gordon's probably not going to be back.
Yeah.
So are you looking to see, is he going to be your number 2 next year?
So this is a complicated question because there's a yes and a no here. And the yes is in people who are already injured, say, for example, Melvin Gordon, who's been kind of fighting an injury all year. And by at this point, like, think about it as a professional football player, at this point in the season, they're all hurting. Like, every single one of them is popping painkillers, and not having a good time in their day-to-day, but they're going out there just feeling terrible. Now, is there a level of, like, if we were playoff potential, like, we'd play them, and now that we're not, like, we probably should rest them to give them a chance to come back next season? Yes. I think that there will be a little bit more leniency on some of these injuries of being like, let's wait. let him heal up a little bit more. I think there's going to be more leniency now that it's kind of done and done. But I don't think if there's a healthy starter that they're going to get jumped by somebody else just to see what we got with them. Because, again, we as the general public don't see what's going on in practice, and the coaches do. There's no reason to put somebody in a game if you see what they have in practice and they can't do it in practice compared to the other guy.
Right.
And I think that's a big part of what the general public is missing, where we're like, put Ripon in, see what he's got. Like, they know what he's got. They see him every single day at practice. Like, they're not like not seeing him until Sundays like we are.
Yeah.
Right.
So they know what they got. There's no reason to put him in that situation. And I love it. I love the motivation. I love the idea of, like, let's see if maybe he's just different in game time. But from a coaching perspective, if you're different in game time, you have a problem. And that's, like, you can't focus. And you need to be focusing in practice. If you can make the plays in practice, then you're going to give a chance in game time. But if you're just a game time player, then not at the NFL level. Maybe at the high school and college level, but not at the NFL level.
No.
I like it.
You just go position by position, too, on this roster.
Mm-hmm.
There's one maybe guy. Like, it's Kareem Jackson starting over Jamar Johnson and Caden Stearns. And then who else? Right. I mean, who else do you want? Where else is there a young guy waiting in the wings on this team? You could have said guard before this season started with Quinn Miners.
Sure.
Now they're
but now they're basically starters.
Significant playing time.
We have
right
what,
now.
like 5 or 6 rookie starters / rookie significant playing time.
Baron Browning is starting now.
Like half our rookie class is getting so much playing time as it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a level. And the only places that I could think of that people want to see is, and I've seen the comments, is Brett Ripon, which. I get it, right? I understand the thought process from here, but I just explained all that. And then the other one is maybe on the offensive line. But even then, they've been rotating in and out. Again, they know what they have in those people, and some of these rookies need to develop in the practice squad against some of these top guys. And yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
Brian and Travis's questions here kind of go together. Or Brian's comment and Travis's question kind of go together here. It feels to me, Travis, like you're gonna get either Teddy or Drew Lock. If one of those guys is on the roster next season, I wouldn't be shocked. I would be shocked if they're both on the roster next season. Teddy's a free agent right now. Drew Lock has one more year of control on his rookie contract, but if he's here, you're not going to be looking at him as a guy who could potentially start. And I don't think there's going to be a conversation around him in Dove Valley as a guy who could earn the starting job as going forward anymore. I think he lost that opportunity in training camp when he lost out to Teddy Bridgewater. That's over now. So if we see Drew Lock on this roster next year, it's going to be in a scenario where A, we've drafted somebody relatively high, or B, we've got somebody like Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers coming here.
So I see 2 ways of this playing out, and this is big, and it depends on how Peyton and Elway are feeling really at the time, and you could go either way. And I feel like this is the big divide in Broncos country. A lot of people want to finally develop that quarterback that we've been wanting all the time, and a lot of people want to go out and get Rodgers or whoever it is in the offseason, some other vet quarterback. If we pull in a vet quarterback, I could see Drew Lock staying, and I could see Drew Lock sitting under a vet quarterback. If the idea is fire the whole staff, let the staff bring in whoever the fudge they want. From the draft class that they like. If they like someone from the draft class, let them bring it in. Then Teddy Bridgewater's the guy, because I think Teddy Bridgewater could be our starter next year. I know Broncos country doesn't want to hear this. Teddy Bridgewater could be our starter next year.
Oh my God.
With the idea that we have a rookie backup that's going to come in a little bit later, and you see it all the time. You see the rookie coming in a couple years later, or a couple games into the season. Teddy Bridgewater has a couple bad games, and they're like, you know what? He's had enough time in practice to play. I see what he has. Let's pull him in and let him start. Or Teddy Bridgewater gets injured because he's had a couple of those this year. Whatever the case is, there is a high chance, if that happens, that Teddy Bridgewater is our starting quarterback week 1 in the 2022 season.
I'm not drunk enough for this scenario. So here's how many in the Broncos history, how many quarterbacks have we drafted that have stuck around and been successful for us?
Have we drafted? The
Yep.
answer is 0.
Exactly. So I am, and when I'm saying I'm dead inside, it's for this season. I am all in. I am all in on getting Rodgers, and then behind that, Russell Wilson if Rodgers doesn't work out. If you want this
Sorry,
team
for
to
a second, I thought
succeed
you
and
meant, like,
stop, no,
for a
yeah, I don't
second,
want to
thought
know
you
what
were
you were
like, I want to
thinking.
get Aaron Rodgers as our starting quarterback and
No,
Russell Wilson to be our
no,
backup.
no,
That's
no,
what I.
no,
That's
no.
what I want to see
No,
in
no.
Broncos country
You
right
have
now.
so little
Super Bowl,
faith in
baby.
me. You have so little faith in me. Like my football acumen is like absolute shit. If you sit and you even think that that's where I'm going. Oh my God, Jared. No, I'm just giving you a hard time.
Could
So
you imagine it though? Just
I
think about it.
mean-
Think about it for a second.
God damn it. I don't want to. But yeah, so I am all in on that. Look, if that doesn't happen, oh my God, like we're just sitting here. Yeah, we'll get a new coaching staff. We'll work on this cultural overhaul for the team and stuff. But man, you can't tell me to get excited about a quarterback that the Broncos draft. And I have over 60 years of proof to back up my, enthusiasm.
I get
And
it. I get it.
it's so painful.
We're due.
6 years of this shit, guys.
Why don't you just think about it this way, Kevin?
Okay.
We're due. 60 years of history. Haven't drafted a quarterback that's been effective once in franchise history. We're due.
We're
This
due.
one's the one.
Or we get Andrew Luck to come out of retirement, and boom, there's our next automatic Super Bowl.
Get out of your own podcast.
So
Yeah,
on that point, yeah, Andrew Luck's not coming out of retirement to come. So here, man, it's just
He's
so
not.
difficult.
I know.
And you know what, Dan? This brings up a good point. It kind of drives the conversation to a different location. If Fangio stays, Broncos country might start a riot, and I think
Yeah.
And this goes into Peyton, and here's my thing with the quarterback situation, right? I want to draft a quarterback. I want to develop somebody. It's something that, like, I think every franchise really wants to do because you see it successfully done other places, and we just have never had that, and we haven't been able to do that. It's a one-year thing. I get it. 1 year, I can't praise him as the greatest GM of all time because he had 1 year of just amazing draft class, because let's be honest, this is probably the best draft class across the NFL.
Yep.
As much playing time as they're getting, as good as they're playing both offensively and defensively on both sides of the ball with the talent level. It's not just one guy. Our first 7-round picks are playing really well, up to including Caden Stearns. I think that there's a level of he knows what he's doing, that George Payton can scout a guy. There's a reason we didn't pick up Justin Fields this year, because they just didn't see what they wanted out of him. They saw more in Pat Surtain, and again, now sitting back and looking in the hindsight, yeah, it was a great decision because I think we got a great player in Pat Surtain. I don't want to give him the 1 year all hail George Payton, but
Right.
I feel like there's a level of I can put my trust in him to do the research to get the right guy at quarterback, whether we have to trade up or not. If he's our guy, then we're gonna go out and get him, and that's what I want. I think at this point, and I think the other thing is I think that quarterback carousel is still sitting in the back of my head, and I'm so fucking sick and tired of it, because even if we get Aaron Rodgers and he goes down for whatever reason with an injury or whatever, then we're back to the quarterback carousel.
This is where I
want to see someone that we establish and we bring up into the system, whatever system that is. It's a new system, and we just go from there.
Well, look, part of the solution might be already on the roster. Why not look at having Drew Lock stay, be the backup if we're able to get somebody like Aaron Rodgers? I think that'd be fantastic. I mean, can you imagine what would have happened if the potential of what could have happened if Tebow had stayed under Peyton Manning? That's a whole long ago removed situation, but I don't know. We already have a piece there that's been with the Broncos that we see, at least, his ceiling's at least a little higher than what it's been. We get him a better coaching staff. We get him time to sit behind somebody like Aaron Rodgers. Do we necessarily have to go draft somebody? I don't know. I'm just trying to throw ideas out here.
I get it, but I lean with Jerry here. If we can, if this is at all practical, I think you wipe the slate clean with all three guys. If anybody you bring back anybody, it's Bridgewater, because I think at this point Locke is one of those guys who needs a fresh start if he's going to get anywhere.
Okay.
If he's going to be anything at all in this league, it's going to be with somebody else. And that's just the way it is. It's his history here, the expectations that were on him, what he's done, his body of work, and what the fans, whether they're for him or against him, have been to Drew Lock. I think it's if he's going to have any success in this league, it's going to be somebody else.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Lock was Vic's first year head coaching. He was the first round or the second round pick.
Round pick.
Yeah.
That's right.
So his first year in head coach, he had a say in coming up to get Drew Lock, because we got Drew Lock and was it Reisner in the same, like, right back to back? Was it Reisner?
I believe so.
Yeah. So, so that's a big piece on that. I can't wait to get this comment. That's a big piece of that, and it's interesting to see if we wipe this slate clean. I think we are going to wipe a slate, but if anybody comes back, it really depends on what is going on in the front office. Do we want to get in a veteran? Then Bridgewater's gone. Do we want to get in a rookie? We can't have a rookie sitting under Drew Lock, or we can't.
Right?
Have a
No,
rookie starter
that
Drew Lock
I agree
sitting
with.
under him. I just feel like that's just does not
Doesn't
breed success.
Yeah. No.
Even especially with the new offensive coordinator, a new head coach, I just don't. And a lot of this is going to come down to the head coaching staff we get in. What's their philosophy? What are they bringing? What kind of person do they want in their locker room? Right, that's a big part of this that a lot of people don't talk about. And in head coaching stuff, a lot of it is scheme, right? Like, hey, what's your scheme? But a lot of it is, what do you bring to the field? Literally, what do you bring to the field that makes them want to follow you? That makes them want to play for you harder? And in the last couple of head coaches, we just haven't seen it. We haven't seen the drive. We haven't seen the motivation to just, hey, let's finish this game. Let's play well. Let's get this team together. We just haven't seen that as much in the past couple. Again, anytime we're in a close game, I have no faith in this team anymore.
No.
Yeah. And I want to put out a little bit of a cautionary message before we get into Jason's comment here, and we will. I'm going to own up to this because I've been talking shit all season, so I have to eat some a little bit here. But first, no, take this away. First, I want to give a little bit of a cautionary response to Daniel and Austin. I get it. I totally understand the frustration, the idea that you want to fire everybody, right? You're pissed off as a fan. You want to show that. You want your feelings to be expressed by people losing their job, and I get it, guys. I understand. You don't really feel bad for the Fangios and the Shermers because they're going to land on their feet. But, and I'm going to use history to teach a lesson here. Abraham Lincoln was told once. No,
Wake
I'm
me up
doing
when
this.
you're done.
Yeah, you got this. I'll go take a nap. Abraham Lincoln was asked once to fire the lead general of his armies, and the man who said it to him was in hysterics, and Lincoln said to him, "All right, I'll fire him. Who should I get to replace him?" And the man said, "I don't know, anybody." And Lincoln said, "Anybody will do for you. I need to have somebody." And that's what this Broncos coaching situation is going to have to be. They can't just get anybody to come in and do a better job than Vic Fangio. We thought that's what the case would be with when Vance Joseph was fired. It was the same discourse. Fire the coaching staff. Anybody else would be better. Has anybody else been better? Because we hired somebody else. We hired a whole bunch of somebody else's. They haven't been that much better.
I mean, it's been a little better.
So-
A little bit better, but
So
the
what I'm
record has
thinking
been a
is,
little bit better, but to what end? Have they had any more playoff appearances? Had they had any more Super Bowl appearances?
right?
So, guys, I understand. You want the accountability to be shown. You want somebody to be fired. You want people heads to roll for the lack of success. But it's not just somebody else as
Right.
good or better is waiting to walk in the door. It's just not that simple, and it may be a couple more years of frustration for Broncos country if they do fire the head coaches.
What I think we'll do is right after the season, the Orange Weekly crew will get together. We'll do a little seance and try to speak to the ghost of Abraham Lincoln, who can help us tell us who that somebody is. And we'll send that message up to George Payton.
We're going to get that.
Dibs on not being the sacrifice.
Damn it.
Got that.
Well, I thought it went without saying that, of course, you were going to be the sacrifice.
I
We'll ask your wife. We'll
Sacrifice
see
of
if
the
she
football
is
gods.
okay with that or not. But
No,
I-
don't skip. Get out of here.
No, we're doing it. No, we'll go back. We'll go back. We'll go back. We're going back.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
back there right now.
Yeah, we're
Okay,
going
you
back.
can't stop controlling the
You're right.
comments.
Okay, now let's address this. Because again, I've been talking shit all season, and Jason just so happened to luck across me as I left Travis Kelce on the bench last week for 41 points. With those 41 points, it wouldn't have been a close contest between Jason and I. I would have smashed him. As it was, the Dolphins' defense coming up against Ian Book last night really fucked me. So, the 11-3 Kevin's Platform Shoes are now out of the playoffs, will not be competing for the finals. And Jason, my hat will stay on, but my drink goes up to you as you go on to the finals to face John.
Jason and Kevin, I can't tell you how entertaining it was to watch that game with David, especially after, like, he was like, okay, he needs 12 points. All he has is defense. 15 points. All he has is a defense. I got this. How often does the
Third
defense...
goddamn play of the game.
I'm telling a story. Okay, so third play of the game. We're watching it. Pick 6. He's losing his. He was like, "This is it." Like, there's no way Ian Book throws for a couple touchdowns to bring that back.
And he didn't. And he didn't. He couldn't. And I swear to God, if you watch the rest of the game, you lost hope that Ian Book was going to throw one touchdown by, like, the second quarter. It was brutal and unending.
Oh, entertaining for me, though, because I was just awful this year in fantasy, and it was great to see this.
Yeah.
Remember, David, when you beat me in the...
I was 11-3. Jared had 3 wins.
I was 3-11.
And now we're just in the same place.
Yep, here we are.
Now we might as well
some
be
drinks.
the same guy.
David, remember, like, 7 years ago, when you and I were in the championship and it was the last game, and I was like, I have this shored up. There's no way you're going to beat me with like 2 minutes to go in the very last game. And you stole it from me because the Steelers are stupid and fucked me over.
It's the only fantasy football championship I've ever won.
Karma has come back, and I feel good about this. Because your reaction is exactly how I was. Like, there's no way this is going to happen, that I'm not going to lose this game. And there you go.
Yeah. Just fantastic. So, I'm upset. Devastated is a fair word. But I will be back next season. I'm going to cry for, 3-4 months. But until then, Jason, go to hell. I mean, good luck. Really good luck. And Kevin, bringing back that story, I think was very big of you, which
it was
contrasts, I think, to everything else that we know about you. But in this particular instance, that was good stuff. Thank you. Appreciate that.
That was good. Okay. So let's see, guys. Okay. Again, everyone, there's going to be so much time to talk about, possible quarterbacks, coaches, this and that. We're not going to put out any clickbait. That's not what we do. That's not who we are. We're going to talk about what we're hearing, how we feel about what we're hearing, but it's not going to be, the Broncos talk to, this potential head coach and could take them to a Super Bowl. Who is it? Click here to find. That's not us. So just stand by. We'll be putting on more shows and everything as time goes along, and we can talk about what's actually being said in the news. But I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are now. Look, Broncos, 1% chance to make the playoffs, about a 9-game parlay or 9-string parlay for them to. So we're just done with that. But what do you guys think about this upcoming game against the Chargers? We beat them earlier in the season. Broncos still, if anything, are trying to save their ego, and some momentum moving forward against a divisional opponent, especially after you get swept this year by an interim head coach, / the Raiders. I think there's a lot to play for here. So what do you guys think?
Yeah. And I expect him to go out and play hard, division game. And
Rob, that's me.
You hate to say it, but this Broncos team is kind of used to being, at this point, having this be a lame duck portion of the season. At this point, they're used to playing games that don't have really any meaning in December, and going out there and playing hard anyway. So I don't think they're going to get destroyed by the Chargers. I think it's going to be a competitive game. The Chargers are now taking their turn kind of as a team that's having really bad COVID issues. Mike Williams not going to play. Chris Harris not going to play, among others. So we will see. It's just one of those games where you look back on it and you think what could have been, and we don't, we want to look forward. But it's like, man, you've got all of these one-score losses against really, really important teams, and you think about how meaningful this game could be, and it's just not. So yeah, like I said, I expect them to go out there and play hard. Daniel, I know this is a fan a fan consideration, but it's not really something in the idea of coaches or players when they're going out there and playing. They're playing to win games. They're not playing for a higher draft slot. So it's if they lose, you can kind of give yourself that consolation, but nobody in the building is thinking that way.
Yeah,
The next 2 games, our draft order is going to change by a couple of picks.
Right.
If it's
the
that
difference
important,
between it's 14th or
This season's different though. There's a lot of teams at our current like that 7-8, 8-7 spot, right? We lose 2 games in a row. I think it pumps us up. Maybe not top 10, but like 11 or 12. But
we're at 11
that's
right now.
That's not an issue. I think the biggest part about this is we do have 2 very difficult games ahead of us, and it doesn't matter win or lose what's going to happen. I think our draft position is going to stay the same, and again, I have faith in George Payton. As we've talked about this in depth in some of our offseason stuff. The draft position changing even 3 or 4 positions, unless you're a top 3, top 5 guy in the draft class, there's no way you're really going to get the guy you actually want. Now, Pat Surtain fell to us because a lot of people got moved up, right? A lot of those quarterbacks got pulled up into the top 5 for whatever reason.
Linemen too.
Offensive lineman. So Pat Surtain, the guy we wanted, kind of fell to us at that point, but that's a different story. I don't think in the top 10, outside of the top 10, you're really going to get the guy you want unless you pull up for it. The top guy, or you're looking at guys that aren't in that top 10 category. Now, again, we have a couple really difficult games ahead of us, and what I'm looking forward to this game is, so at this point we know we're out of the playoffs. Fangio and the crew are gone. What they can do for themselves is to show a team. Show up with a team that's motivated to play, and if they win one of these next 2 games, they can show that they can still be viable coaches in the NFL. And I think Brandon Staley has really shown that he is a viable head coach in the NFL. The Chargers are playing very well. They still charge her every once in a while, but that's I think that just comes with the name.
It's getting less.
It's getting less. They have a young quarterback who's very good. They have a great passing attack. And I'm interested to see how that turns out in the game. But I think Pat Shurmur against this defense is really, he's fighting for maybe not coaching in the league again. This will be his third third offensive / head coaching gig in the last couple of years. There's a chance that he might, maybe quarterback coach or offensive assistant or something like that. But I don't know how many people are going to go out and vial for a guy who's been fired 3 times in the last 4 years.
That's it. I feel like Pat Shurmur's next job title is going to be Special Offensive Assistant to X.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I think he's. There's just so much negativity around him, and the way his offense is running, and how. The biggest thing for me that stands out is you got a backup quarterback this week who's had a lot of starting experience, has been with the team for a long time. So it's not like they're a brand new backup. But every time, Drew Lock's gone out there, he's just so unable to put together a game plan or call plays around Drew Lock's strength. In addition to, if you had told me before the game that we would win the turnover battle 3-0 and still lose, I would have laughed at you.
Our only touchdown was because, he was a yard short.
A yard short.
Yeah.
That it was almost a defensive touchdown. It wasn't even offensive, almost. Right? So I think that speaks volumes.
Within the 5 yard line. Right.
And
that speaks volumes about Shurmur and his offense. He's so inept at adapting and changing to what's going on in the situation. He's so hard set in his ways. And I think anybody's going to look at that and say, why should we bring you over here?
Well, and a big part of that, and friend of the show, Jeff Legwald, had a article that he posted about why are we not getting the ball in the hands of our playmakers? We have such amazing, Jerry Jeudy, Noah Fant, who I feel like we've talked about a lot. Cortland Sutton's he's been quiet for a while. Like, why can we not get, for whatever reason, get the ball in the hands of any of our playmakers? Like, there's no way, for some reason, the scheme is opening people up, or we're not seeing it. Like, you can't blame every quarterback that comes through. At some point, you got to look at the head and be like, okay, obviously something's not working here. Why do we have these prolific receivers who are very good at separation, good at their breakaways, and we still can't get them the ball? And again, Drew Lock played pretty well in a couple spots, right? But it's just the consistency that Drew Lock's missing. Teddy Bridgewater has great consistency. It's just not anywhere downfield. Mm-hmm. And Drew Lock has zero consistency. One moment he's looking like, oh my gosh, there's only like 5 quarterbacks that can make that throw. And then on the other side, there's only 5 quarterbacks that would make that throw.
Right.
You know,
Would
like,
try that throw. Yeah, exactly.
So it just seems so inconsistent, and I think part of that is the coaching. And I think that's why are quarterbacks not understanding their reads? Why are they not making the plays on the timing routes? If we have a timing route on anything, why are we going the dump off on a timing route?
Yeah.
And there's just so many things wrong. We're playing a cover 2 defense.
Cover 3.
You're playing against a cover 3 defense, and you're running to the sticks. Right,
you're running to the sticks on comeback routes, which means that you then come back.
Inside
so you're 2 yards short of
on
the sticks.
But and they were there. They were either thrown off or the receivers weren't all the way at the sticks. And again, Vic Fangio, when he asked about that, was like, well, this happens. They were covered. Like, I get it, but like, why, if they're in cover 3 covering the sticks, why call the play?
Yeah.
Like, why not call a play that opens up to cover? Like, they're not playing anything crazy. The defenses we're playing against isn't against anything unreal or unseen. It's 3rd and 9, like 90% of our third downs. And, okay, that's an exaggeration, but you know what I'm saying. And all of a sudden, they're going to play cover 3. Why are we throwing the timing routes to the sticks where they're sitting?
More than that, too. You're getting manhandled at the point of attack by on both ends of the football by a below-average offensive and defensive line from the Raiders. Whatever. It doesn't matter who's got who. The game situation is you're getting manhandled at the point of attack. They've shut down your run game. Where are the 5 to 7 yard passes to get your quarterback in rhythm? Why are they all either screen passes or 18-yard routes down the field with double moves that take 4 or 5 seconds to develop?
Yeah.
Your guys don't have that much time. Max Crosby's already in your backfield. It's not happening today.
Yeah, we've talked about this in depth about slants, outs, like 5-yard slants, 2-yard slants,
crossers,
something, anything over the middle. Like, it just seems like it's just a lot. Marcus, I do want to get to this point to be a little bit more positive.
Play spoiler.
It would be awesome to play spoiler to the Chargers to get them out of the playoffs. Now, unfortunately, kicking the Chargers out of the playoffs probably means the Raiders go.
Yeah,
which is
but the Raiders aren't going to get very far, so that's okay.
Yeah, but it would be nice to win a game and say, hey, we took them out of the playoffs because we're better than they are.
And then go beat the Chiefs the next week and take them out of the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Right. That would be fantastic.
You won't.
You won't? Well, jeez. No, so everything you're talking about.
They probably won't.
Did you guys know that we were 1 in 10 or 1 for 10 on third downs?
Yeah.
And you know what that 1 third down conversion was? Penalty. Now, do you know what Drew Lock's completion rate was on third down?
5 for 7.
5 for 7. 5 for 7 on third downs. The Broncos are probably have the best completion percentage in third down with the least third down conversion rate in the league.
Yeah,
or close.
Give Shermer all the shit, but at least he's consistent.
That's
consistent. We will get a completion on third down. We will not convert.
See what happens.
And this is something we've been hard on hard on Teddy for all season, and maybe now it's something we owe him a little bit of an apology for because it didn't look any better with Drew Lock out there. And it's maybe just I think we can put that one mostly on coaching at this point.
Oh my gosh! Now you're getting me. I forgot about the play that it was like a 3rd and 8, and we had 2 wide receivers out for passing. Like we had 2
wide receivers
options.
out and they're out.
We pulled in so much protection for 2 receivers. Like what?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna. Okay, we're gonna.
Yep.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Yep. So I don't know. Look, there's still a lot to play for. We'll say that we did play meaningful football throughout. We were in meaningful football games throughout the month of December.
Yeah.
And Broncos haven't done that in the last 5 years at least. By early December, it was pretty much dead. Look, this team isn't far. This team isn't far. You find a way and sell a farm to get somebody like Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson in here. You get a head coach in here, bring in a team that will change the culture. I think this team can be very competitive. Now, otherwise, you're saying, it's still going to be another 2 to 3 years before we're potentially in the mix.
And the frustrating thing right now, and I'm sorry, Jared, because I know you've got something. And the frustrating thing in the cycle right now is you could, if you go out and get a young quarterback, a first rounder or a second rounder, and you actually hit on that guy, the rest of your team is young enough that right now you could develop them all together.
I'll
and
give
have
you that.
something really, really impressive. Like you're not out of that window. You're at the tail end of it right now.
Right.
But you are still in that window where the rest of your roster is ready to get a young quarterback. Or you could go the established veteran route, but you're shrinking so fast. And as somebody said earlier in the broadcast, it's not a great year to be like one young quarterback away on your roster, because the young quarterbacks who are there, like there's going to be somebody out of this draft who hits, but it's not.
But it's probably only going to be one.
Maybe one or two. It's not going to be 3 or 4 guys this
And
year.
it's not somebody who's going to be available at number 11,
At
12,
15.
13,
Right.
20.
I mean,
Right.
there's a chance.
I mean, that's the thing. This is one of those classes where you could draft a guy 31st overall and he could be the one.
Right.
But you've got to have that front office who knows.
We got to keep thinking, like, I mean, I'm looking at guys like Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, right? I'm looking at guys like Justin Fields, and I'm looking at some of these top round guys that everybody's like, oh, these got to be the. I'm looking at Trevor Lawrence, right?
Yep.
I'm looking at these
He's
guys
had
who
a
are
bad
like,
year.
they're the guy, and then you look at like the Patrick Mahomes, the Herbert. When was Herbert drafted?
Like 5th or 6th.
Yeah, so he wasn't the first quarterback off the board, right? You're looking at some of these guys who's the Patriots quarterback. Same thing, like these guys are the guys that aren't like the top guys, but they're playing pretty decently well because they were scouted well. And again, this goes back to how much faith do you have in George Payton? And I don't want to all hail the king, but he had a really good first draft class in his first year here. And I think I'm still on the, as an offensive coordinator type coach, I think that the most important relationship on an NFL football field is the offensive coordinator and the quarterback. And if you do not mesh those two things, which is what we did not do this year, Shermer has an okay offensive plan, but just has not been able to. I mean, look at what he did with Eli Manning for the longest time, and what he did with what's his name that came in to replace him? Daniel Jones just could not get him to be the guy. And then he came to here, and he couldn't get anybody here. All of our quarterbacks that we've gone through since he's been here, he couldn't get any of those guys to be the guy because he's not fitting the system. If we can get somebody that's going to come in, say, yes, I like this guy, he fits my system. And over the first year, if we're in the same situation next year with a rookie quarterback, if he plays, 90% of the snaps, and a new offensive coordinator, I'm going to be so much happier. And we're going to have a completely
now you have something to build off of
the next season than I would than where we are right now. And the fact that our top performers of this Broncos team are all rookies is just unreal.
Mm-hmm.
Our top guys on offense and defense, our top offensive lineman is a rookie. Our top running back, I love Melvin Gordon. I do think we can get in that conversation a little bit later too, but I do think Melvin Gordon needs to be re-signed. I think that having that duo in the backfield is just as deadly, and I think there's a reason it's been working so far.
I think it'd be cool to bring him back. I don't know if it'll happen, but yeah.
Against the Raiders, and we haven't talked about that yet. For some reason,
because
the only team in the league that we can't win the trench battle is the Raiders.
The Raiders.
Of all the teams that are like Max Crosby, for the record, Max Crosby's a beast.
He's
God, yes.
I got a very good player.
I give him all the credit in the world. They talk about somebody that's just, he
earned it. He
earned what he did, and I love him as a player. I think he's a really, really good ball player. But, yeah, Gordon, and I agree. I think Gordon he's had a couple fumbles in important games.
That's it. Like I feel like his reputation as a fumbler is overblown just by the fact that he fumbles in key situations that you really remember.
Right.
It's not.
That's it.
It's not a quantity thing. It's a quality thing with his fumbles.
Yeah.
So, what happens next year? And again, like I said, if we go out and get an Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, we're in the same position next year. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, new coaching staff. We're in the same position next year. We're pissed. We go out and we get a rookie quarterback. He sits under Bridgewater until Bridgewater gets, something happens where he has a terrible game, and they're like, I feel comfortable.
Week 3, week 4, yeah.
And he comes out and we're in the same position, 7-8. I'm so much happier with a rookie quarterback and a new offensive coach with the talent that we have than I am getting somebody like an Aaron Rodgers. Now, I don't think if we got an Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, we would be in this position. But again, we don't know who we're going to pick up for offensive coordinator. Like, is that guy going to be the guy with our offensive coordinator? And it really depends on what Peyton and Elway and whoever ends up owning the team eventually says.
I say if we get one of those guys, it's not nearly as big of a deal because at that point you're saying, hey, Aaron Rodgers, you're essentially running the offense. Like, you work with the offensive coordinator, to get everybody on the same page, but you're the one running the offense.
Right.
So I don't think it'd be as big a deal. Now you get a rookie quarterback, then yeah, it's obviously a much bigger deal who the offensive coordinator is, because then you're talking about those meshing issues that we've been facing in a negative way the last couple of years. And being able to, can you fit your system to what they are good at?
Right. Yeah. We'll just have to see. It's such an interesting offseason. We've got Ellis going.
It's a lot.
You've got probably a new coaching staff coming in. You've got maybe new owners coming in, and in a process that might go faster than everybody is expecting. It could be a very whirlwind offseason, but you know who's going to be here for you every step of the way is Orange Weekly.
Which I want to bring up this comment I saw earlier.
That's right.
Chris, and if you're still watching, are we going to stay Broncos fans? The answer is no matter what. We are. Yeah. Do you see our background? I mean, my 90% of my wardrobe is blue and orange. Like, it's hard for me to find something that's not blue and orange in my wardrobe.
Until Facebook told him to take it down, Kevin's name on Facebook was Kevin Go Broncos.
Somebody tattled on me. Somebody reported that because it goes, "We don't believe this is your real name." And I was like, it's been there for like 2 years. Like, somebody reported that. Like, this isn't the person's real name. They're a fake account or something. And I had to prove that my name was Kevin Dandino, and they wouldn't let me put the Go Broncos part in the middle again. So, fuck off.
Funny.
Rude. Yeah, the simple fact is I'm too old and too tired to find another team or another fandom at this point. Like, I cannot.
I'm so emotionally invested in the Broncos at this point that I could not leave. We have a bad relationship right now, but we get over the hurdles.
Yeah.
We push on. We have faith that the other one's gonna do what they need to do to make this relationship better.
Yeah. Me being dead inside is just a symptom of denial, and I'm gonna get over that. Like, I'm not actually ready to separate from the team in any way. That's not
that just prevents me from like angrily shouting at the TV or throwing something at the TV. Like, it's a slight mental and emotional separation internally. So
I'm upset because I care.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, and you see fans that, the bandwagon fans, I don't understand them, because when teams start doing well, it means so much more when you're a fan that has sat by through all of the struggles and the down years. It is so much more powerful, so much more exciting. I mean, I tell you what, if we get Aaron Rodgers, and I'm just going to throw this out there, knock on wood, but or somebody like that, I am going to be so excited. I don't know if I'll be able to sleep for a week. But some bandwagon fans will be like, "Oh, I like Aaron Rodgers. I'll root for the Broncos now." Like, to them, they're like, "Oh, look, they're doing well." Well, of course, you're a fucking Rodgers fan. Like that, you're not a Broncos fan. So there's a huge difference there. No, I'm going to stay a Broncos fan. We all will here at Orange Weekly. We're not going anywhere. We might have to have a conversation of, if the Broncos have another losing season, it might be Orange Weekly's fault. I don't know. We might be the jinx, guys.
You keep bringing this
up.
I'm
just saying this.
I get what you're saying. Right. And I know
you get what I'm saying.
Since we started Orange Weekly, when we first met up in Pensacola 6 years ago, we haven't had the greatest seasons. Right? Oh, okay, I get that. But we can't blame us for the inept, and this goes back to that relationship thing. I have to have faith in them. They have to have faith in us that we're going to keep going, and we're going to keep bringing the positive energy and bringing that no BS attitude that I think they need. And I think a lot of people need. I think this no BS attitude is really what keeps us alive. Right? There's a level of anger, but there's also a level of like, you know what? We're Broncos fans through and through. We're going to love you no matter what. Thank you guys
so much here no matter what.
For watching and learning with us. And we love Broncos. You guys love Broncos. Loving the Broncos country. And that's where we're going to be. We're going to continue watching the games. We're not going to miss one. We're not going to go out there and be like, the Broncos suck, I'm not going to watch this game. We're going to root for them, even if it doesn't matter.
Like, who am I going to go root for? The Jaguars? I won't. You're right. I will not.
Not to say that somebody here might have done that at one point in their life or not. That was just a random... It's pinky up for fanciness, Jared. It's pinky up for fanciness. Jeez, come on. Anyway, okay, guys, any closing thoughts, starting with you?
So, guys, I know it's going to be an interesting last couple of games. And when I say interesting, let's take the BS out for a minute, because it's a no BS show. It might be kind of shitty. guys, like, we might lose both of these last 2 games to teams who have much more at stake than we do, who have playoff implications on the line. Somebody asked, are the Chiefs going to rest their starters? I do not believe for a second the Chiefs are going to rest their starters in that Week 18 game, because I think they're going to have a lot of implications left. I think
the first seed is still open.
Yeah, the first seed is absolutely going to be open until the last week of the season, I believe. So I do think the Chiefs are going to bring it with everything they've got. The Chargers, to keep their own playoff hopes alive. The Broncos have fallen out of the logjam in the AFC, but there's still very much a logjam in the AFC for that last the last 2 wild card spots. So there's a ton left to play for these last 2 teams that the Broncos face, and they're both division games. So we could see any number of outcomes in the next 2 weeks. What I think is the most likely is that, they're going to, the season's going to end with a firing of the coaching staff no matter what. So, as Paul Tuck just said, and I love this comment from Paul here, keep on keeping on, Broncos country. That's what we can do right now. That's what's the best for us. Keep on keeping on.
Which, by the way, Paul, I know we've called you out before, but Paul is a fan from the UK. So, Paul, thanks very much for helping Orange Weekly be international. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Paul. We appreciate you. Go ahead, Jared.
I'm thinking. Can I just I just need to clear my.
You had the whole time David was talking
so
to.
long, so that you could have an actual
I did.
answer here.
We missed the playoffs, and I'm hurt.
Yeah.
I warned you. I warned you.
No, and this is why I was. See, I had to pick my words closely because he was going to get mad at me. No, look, I have not been dead inside. No matter how many times somebody has warned me to just go limp. Let me have it back.
No,
Let me have it back.
Get out. Make your fun.
We're not mathematically.
I swear. Make the
That's
Okay, so
making the highlight reel for next year's Orange Weekly intro right there. That is hilarious.
So, while we're not mathematically eliminated, we're pretty much there. There's no way. I'm looking at the schedule here. The Ravens, Steelers, Bengals all have tiebreakers against us. The Raiders have tiebreakers against us. The odds of us winning both the last 2 games and all those things bring us down to like a 1% chance of making the playoffs. It's done. Our coaching staff's gone. There's a lot to look forward to in the next season, which is unfortunate. But guess what? We're going to be here no matter what. And we're Broncos country through and through. And I think that's all I can really say about that. I think that the Broncos have put me through enough roller coasters in the last 5 years. This isn't the worst one. At least we were fighting towards meaningful games in December, which we haven't had in a couple years, like we've said. But there's a level of talent on this team that I think is underutilized, and I'm excited to see a new coach come in and see what we could do with it. But yeah, that's really where it comes down to. Like, we are going to be Broncos fans. We're going to be here. Orange Weekly is going to be here no matter what. We could go 0-16 next year, and Orange Weekly will be here at the end of it, giving you the same no bullshit excuses on what we need to do.
Bad luck.
Even if we are the bad luck, I don't think we'll ever go 0-16. That'd be awful.
Don't.
But yeah, so here we are. That's where we're at, and I love you guys. Orange Weekly. We started this 6 years ago, and we're just all in at this point. We're all in. We've been all in for the Broncos for a long time, all of us, but we've just been doing the Orange Weekly thing for 6 years, and we're here to bring it to you. And thank you guys so much for the comments. It really helps us, and I'm super happy to be having these conversations with you guys. Thank you guys so much for everything.
Awesome. Yeah. Kind of go off what they said. Look, we're going to keep doing this as long as you guys keep showing up for the videos and listening to the podcast and commenting on the videos and stuff. We're going to keep doing this because we talk about the Broncos with each other.
So
yeah.
We'll just keep doing it.
Clearly.
Well, that's what we do this all the time anyway. Even before Orange Weekly, we were like talk Broncos like all the time anyway. So, now we're just sharing it with you all. And
so here's another thing that we didn't talk about. I know we're talking about last thoughts, but we break the streak for with no implications. Like, we break the streak and take them out of the number 1 seed, right? The Tennessee Titans are an underdog, I feel like, in this, and I'm kind of on that Tennessee Titan train right now.
Yeah.
But could you imagine we beat the Chiefs, take them out of that number 1 seed, and we break that streak?
I'd love it. I would love it.
If I think it's going to be even more than that. If we break that streak, there will be no implications at all. Like they will already have wrapped up whatever playoff seed they're in, and they'll play all their starters anyway, and then the Broncos will beat them probably pretty convincingly in the most meaningless way possible.
I'll take every second of it because it means something to us.
It means something to us.
It means something to us.
Absolutely.
So yeah, look, a couple weeks of Broncos football left on TV. Let's enjoy it. Still a lot of football in general. Enjoy it while it's on, and don't think that if you're a new fan of the show or something, don't think that once the off season hits that we're going to go dead quiet until the next season. We still got a lot of stuff that we produce during the off season. We'll be around free agency. Once they name a new head coach, we'll be here to break that down and have a conversation with y'all. Free agency, the combine, the draft. I mean, we do pre-podcast, post-podcast. I mean, we still bring you a lot of content even during the off season, maybe just not on a weekly basis. So, yeah, Daniel, appreciate it. Hey, if this is the only Broncos show you listen to, then you made a good choice. This is,
excellent choice.
We try.
I wouldn't say the best choice. I would say an excellent choice.
An excellent choice. Yes.
Top 10 choice.
Definitely. I feel like better than top 10, top 3.
Top 5 choice.
Okay, we'll schedule there.
Look, the Broncos listen to us.
Some of our members bring it down a notch, Daniel, and that's not your fault.
Be careful, Team Visor. It's just this guy.
This guy. Look, the Broncos listen to us. I'm going to keep claiming that until somebody proves me otherwise.
Hey, they keep doing things we say.
This is true.
Whether it's for good or for bad, they keep doing things that we tell them to do. So
it's like maybe you guys should not listen to us as much, but yeah. Top in the UK. That's what I love to hear, man. That's what I love to hear.
It's not a small fan base in the UK for NFL for the Broncos or for the NFL.
Yeah, the Broncos
that says a lot.
In the UK is amazing. We love them out there.
Yeah. So, okay, guys, Orange Weekly backstage a little bit later tonight.
Yeah, let's do it in about a half an hour. We're gonna take a quick break. But yeah,
we'll do
Orange Weekly backstage. Make sure you guys are heading over to our YouTube channel. We finally got enough subscribers to change our YouTube channel to YouTube/Orange Weekly. Did we? There it is. There it is. All right, so make sure you guys are joining us. If you guys haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, check that out. Really appreciate all of you guys. Again, love it. We love the conversation. We love talking to you guys. This isn't just us hearing ourselves talking. We love the conversation, your guys' input. And me and Red Cloud, I'm sure you're still here, but we go back and forth. Like we've had a couple discussions, and I love every second of it. Red Cloud, thanks you for being that OG subscriber there. But yeah, make sure you guys are heading over to YouTube, and we'll go to the Orange Weekly backstage in about 30 minutes.
Awesome. Take care, everyone. As always, we'll end this show on a very strong Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Take care, everyone.
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sipping goose, if it's right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go.